Welcome back to Warriors Talk and Paint. Or Paint and Talk. Oh god, I'm stupid. Anyways, today we're drawing Shadowsight. Oh boy. So, I want to start this off by saying when Shadowsight was requested, I didn't know much about him, aside from the fact he's Tiger Heartstar and Dovewing's son. And that's what I started off with when it came to designing him. I went ahead and drew up some sketches of Tiger and Dove along with a first pass of Shadowsight after doing so. I found that this actually helped me out a lot. I really like showing features that cats inherited from their family to show that they are related to each other, and drawing Tiger and Dove beforehand helped me have a better grasp on what one of their kits might look like. In this case, Shadowsight inherited his tiger-esque markings on his ears and eyebrows from his father and grandmother, which is Tawny Pelt. And the mask-like marking on his face also comes from his father, along with his grandfather, Rowan Star. I found on the wiki that Rowan sort of has this darker muzzle on his sprite, and then I saw Shadowsight sort of had it too, and I just thought it was so cute and I couldn't not incorporate it somehow. I was also surprised to find on the wiki that this dude is specifically described as scrawny and little, and his sprite was a short hair cat. I mean, the short part I shouldn't be that surprised about. Most depiction of Dovewing I've seen she's been short, but the short-haired thing I was surprised about. So I made him kinda short, and gave him a little less fluff than I initially imagined. So after that little fiasco, I thought it was smooth sailing, and then I saw this. Which I was very confused about, so I did a little digging, since I hadn't gotten around to reading A Vision of Shadows yet. I'll explain why that is later. But this little dude was struck by lightning, holy fuck! Sorry. I thought that was really cool, I don't know why. But basically, because of this, I did some research into lightning damage and also found out about lightning scars in the process, and I couldn't help myself. Starting off, a lightning strike can cause temporary or permanent paralysis, which helps explain why Shadowsight can't move his ear. And what I decided was not only to make his ear paralyzed, but the entire left side of his face as well, along with being partially blind. His left eye isn't completely blind, but his vision is blurry in it. I love how the scar came out. I know it may be difficult to see when zoomed out, but I'm still very happy with it. When it comes to color palettes, I was actually pleasantly surprised, once again. When looking on the wiki, I found that Shadowsight's quote-unquote canon colors on the website were actually not bad to look at. So I kept it as one of the potential ones to use, adding on one more lighter color because I knew I wanted Shadowsight to have at least 4 colors. You'll see that I ultimately end up deciding on the third color palette, but I do end up using a color from the second one for his nose and inner ear. Now, my biggest struggle was actually eye color. I've seen so many amazing designs where Shadowsight has these gorgeous red or orange eyes, and I was almost completely dead set on doing so myself. But I decided to at least make a second one to choose from, which was a very saturated yellow/amber color. I was really sure I was gonna like the red, but once I tried both of them, I actually ended up preferring the yellow and how it contrasted with the color palette I'd chosen, so bada bing bada boom, that's what I settled on. So, with all the design talk done, on to Shadowsight as a character and why this video took so long. I'm gonna be honest with you all, I have not read Warrior Cats in almost 2.5 years now, and there's a reason for that. Back then, it seemed like there was at least the books left in the original cover art that Wayne McLagan has made for the Warrior Cat series. And then they completely disrespected his work and replaced it entirely. I mean, no offense to their new cover artist, Owen Richardson, but replacing the original artist's work, the cover art I had grown up with and looked up to as a kid, was and is fucking despicable. I'm not going to go on a rant any longer, even though I really don't like the new cover art. But to make a long story short, I was so angry that I refused to read any more books and I never finished A Vision of Shadows, let alone get into the Broken Code. I learned how both ended via people talking about them online. I ended up having to go to my local library and then had to read the books as fast as I could. I'll be honest, I was actually very pleasantly surprised with Shadowsight as a character. I kinda, thought he was gonna be different. A lot different. Right off the bat, he was actually very endearing to me in the fact that he's so desperate to be normal. And also in the fact that, compared to most medicine cats, he actually wanted to be one since he was a kid. No previous wanting to be a warrior or anything of the sort. And that is such a nice change of pace. I'm also very happy no forbidden romance bullshit has gone on for him. He's a bit similar to Alderheart, which I really like, because when I was reading A Vision of Shadows, I absolutely adored Alderheart and was pretty upset when he kind of just got demoted to a background character. So it's like having Alderheart 2, Electric Boogaloo, but this time with more flavor. I really felt bad for him when none of the medicine cats believed him. You'd think with all the shit that's happened in the past they would, but they don't. Or they didn't. And I sympathize with him because hell, I know what that's like. I'm sure plenty of people out there do too. I really felt his character and had a good grasp on it when he felt torn between doing what he thought was right and what his leader, his father, said. And when he felt used by Ashfur. To me, he feels like more of a real believable character compared to Bristlefrost and Rootspring. No offense, I just didn't really enjoy their point of views as much, and they didn't strike a chord with me as much as Shadowsight did. However, though yes, I really like Shadowsight, he runs into a common issue that the Errands seem to have nowadays. He's not very fleshed out as past characters. His chapters are mostly plot-based rather than focused on him as a character. Bristlefrost has the same problem as well, and the only character to seem to get anything really focused on them in their chapter is Rootspring. But to make things short and sweet and tie things up, Shadowsight is a nervous little dude who started out with very little faith in himself, but he at least became well respected in the end.